Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about proof, right? I have 30 points of proof, and there's a lot more. Proof that I have proven that I am profoundly wise, okay? And I make profoundly wise decisions in spite of sabotage while others do not. So some people might argue, well, why are you trying to lead? First of all, because I'm the top martial artist, I'm the son of God, right? Okay? But they would argue that why are you trying to lead when you're stumbling on your words and so on and so forth? Because the bottom line is the decisions. I can have someone else help me talk if people rally. That's no problem. That's a minor issue. My track record of sound decisions with only minor mistakes that are completely understandable, when one considers the brain hacking, the fuming, and the poisoning, okay, speaks for itself. It goes far beyond everyone and anyone else. Point number 1. My top martial arts challenge and continual victory. I had the foresight to say that I'm going to win that challenge. When I made the challenge in 2013, I said, I'm going to win. You'll still lose. And that showed a certain insight, a certain wisdom, a certain amount of sense. That's why martial arts instructors in the Japanese system are quite often called sensei. In karate, what have you. Point number 2, I have not killed anyone out of emotions, etc. I'm one of the most provoked people. In fact, the most provoked person, one of the most provoked people in all of human history. And I have not killed anyone out of emotions, out of flipping out, what have you. Point number 3, and I'm 43 years old with no criminal record, mind you. Point number 3, I get provoked daily and I still have no criminal record. Well, there you go. Point number 4, I have not flipped out in a store after going to stores daily for years, after being provoked, right? I'm not some crazy person who flips out, right? I'm always angry for a good reason, and the expression is always logical, despite how they edit my videos to try to confuse that. Point number 5, I do not drink or smoke. Point number 6, I constantly put God first every day, while countless others just claim to as they worship Lucifer. I have many videos that make that clear. Point number 7, I train myself to do martial arts. Other people just taught me the basics. Point number 8, I am the most different person in California, yet I masterfully engage people intellectually even when I am targeted. Okay, you see with the trips, for example, where I go out there and try to get them to talk to me even though I'm targeted, I'm fumed, I'm poisoned, I'm kept from wearing nice clothes because they fume the clothes and the shoes, what have you. So I look a bit scruffy, but I still masterfully engage them. Okay, and I grew up very shy. I'm not extroverted, believe it or not. I'm someone with a cause who's introverted. Point number 9. Point number 9. They have come up with complex techniques which are designed to get me to be tricked into submission that they often try to play off. I have outsmarted them even when they all put their heads together. So this is all part of the same point. They came up with complex techniques which are designed to get me to be tricked into submission. They try to play off these techniques in various ways, which causes more problems. Okay? And in spite of that, I've outsmarted them even when they put their heads together. PhD, Stanford, Harvard, you name it. Okay, Cambridge. The people with fancy degrees from all over the world, when they come together in their corporate alliances and their governments and their intelligence agencies, have they got me to conform? No. Because I've outsmarted them even when they put all their heads together. Even though I'm fumed and poisoned. Point number 11. Or actually, we're on point number 10. So again, they're making it harder for me to talk. But when I bring up the fact that they're making it harder for me to talk, does that work in my favor or theirs? Mine. Because every day they sink lower and lower. And all you people are following them. Well, I'm honest about what's going on. And I explain it just like in this video. Point number 10, I have not given up and I did not become controlled opposition. Point number 11, I even maintained some kind of moderate workout every day, in spite of extreme poisoning, fuming, and them keeping me from eating healthy foods. That's not easy. Sometimes when I want to work out, I'm very sore and I can't work out. I have to bend over backwards to work out when I can. If I did not do this, I would be in a lot worse shape. Point number 12. I have shown a certain responsibility, aka responsibility, the ability to respond in the face of extreme adversity. I've shown that I understand the urgency of the situation. Urgency is a play on words for urgency and timing. Now again, when you look at this thing here, let me stop right here and make sure that you appreciate this idea here. Would you rather have somebody who's going to actually solve the problem, who's actually chosen by God, who's stumbling on his words because he's doing the right thing, or some bitch-ass, Masonic groomed pussy who doesn't stumble on his words because he's a bitch, he probably got fucked in the ass as a kid while his mom had a train run on her, looking like a golden boy pussy? I mean, if you don't understand that I'm right, I promise you, you're a fucking idiot. Point number 13. The bumper sticker decision, right, to have all these bumper stickers, right, was key, as they allowed me to get the message out to thousands. Even the decision to put bumper stickers on my car and on the rental cars was a very wise decision, in spite of all the fuming and poisoning. And it got the message out to thousands of people. Point number 14, and that includes my top martial arts challenge, mind you. Point number 14, I put my duty to God before money. Point number 15, my requirements are well thought out. Okay, so I made requirements that in order for me to continue, you must understand that I'm always going to put God first. Okay, I'm not going to be gay. I'm not going to pretend to be gay. I'm going to move with a certain dignity. I'm not going to mock God. So I came up with about 5 requirements. And they were sound and well thought out. So I have another video about that. So a lot of these things allude to things that take quite a bit of time to explain. So we're just going to keep going here. Okay. Point number 16. I actually made 2 point number 16, so we're going to make this one long point. My argument that I have 23 witnesses or so is ingenious, as it definitively shows that I am not delusional and that I am to be taken seriously when coupled with my very logical arguments. My no viable arguments are key. Okay, I say, look, they have no viable counter-argument. You ever see someone say this as a politician? No. See a priest say this? No. They never say this phrase. I say it so many times. And as they don't respond, when I have thousands of videos and like 7, 8, 9, 10 channels or something, and I'm on different platforms, it makes it clear that I'm right and they're wrong. That's a very powerful, powerful argument. I am the only one I have ever heard of that has been able to argue that they are the real life idea that Christ refers to, okay, and has been able to do so without anyone being able to bring forth a viable counter-argument. And many people have argued that they agree that I am. They don't stand with me, but you'd be surprised how many people in various ways have agreed that I am the idea that Christ refers to. And again, when you're the son of 2 doctors, one is a brain surgeon who came here penniless, worked his way up, okay, who's also humanitarian, and you're his namesake, and he said to you, you're the smartest person he's ever met. Okay, and you did Algebra 2 and kindergarten, all these other things, and you say that you're Christ as a very righteous person. Only a dumbass would not take you seriously. Only a stupid person would not take you seriously and would not hear you out. So when you see people agreeing with me, and I say they don't have no viable, people have no viable counter-argument, okay, I'm to be taken seriously at least, and if you're smart enough, you'll see that I actually am Christ. Okay. Point number 17. My decision to chastise the LGBT community while treating them fairly was a very logical. And what I mean by this is, though I'm disagreeing with them, okay, and I'm pointing out they're wrong in a way they don't want to hear, which a lot of people are terrified of doing. Certainly as uncontrolled opposition. I've never even heard of someone else who's uncontrolled opposition who has chastised the LGBT community. It just doesn't happen. Certainly not right here in California, 45 minutes, an hour away from San Francisco. I even made one of my videos in San Francisco. In Oakland, which is just across the bridge, I've made, I've gone there like 5-6 days or something and made videos. Okay, and I did so while treating them fairly and emphasizing that I've done more to help the LGBT community than anyone who's ever lived, because I told them the exact truth. I've shown them how to live a better life. I've told them what they need to do to be right with God, no matter how much they don't want to hear it. I've told them better than anyone else ever. And I've done so many times. And I've done so right in the lion's den. Point number 18. There is a reason why the word cheat is a play on words for see, he, at, he, cat, and see, heat. You can also get take from it with a C instead of a K. And that's also a point that proves that I'm wise, right? There's a reason why, because they know that I make profoundly wise decisions in spite of sabotage while others do not. That's why they say cheat the he cat, the heat, right? The Lion of Judah, the African heat, cheat. They're saying to cheat that type of person because he's wiser than everyone else, because he's going to show them up, because he's going to overcome them, transcend them, what have you. Point number 19. A certain type of African person, mind you. Pharaoh is one person, not every African person. 19. My decision to argue that righteousness is greater than wealth is very wise. So the reason why it's wise to argue that righteousness is greater than wealth, again and again, I have the bumper stickers, what have you, is it makes it clear that people should be judged by the content of their character, and that God is greater than people who can give you worldly money, that God is allowed to have a certain amount of money to try to test you with, though they're not authorized by God to do that. They're going to hell. So my decision to argue it again and again and to make the bumper stickers and put on various vehicles, what have you, was very wise. It shows that, hey, I'm not competing with you based on who has more women or money, who has a nicer car, okay? This argument is golden. And to this day, no one has proven it wrong because it's clearly right. They have no viable counterargument to the fact that righteousness is greater than wealth. So because I'm more righteous than they are, I'm greater than they are. Point number 20. My decision to make a playlist that is titled Proof I Am Christ was smart. So I have a playlist. Okay? Keep in mind, they're making it harder for me to talk in so many videos these days, so many. And so I made a playlist where through extreme mental stress and pressure and what have you, fuming and so on and so forth, I made sure that it came out a certain way. Now, a lot of it, if I remember correctly, it went smoothly, but I made sure that the videos were sound. Now, if I add this video to it, which I probably will, it'll be like the only video in it, if I'm not mistaken, that has a lot of kind of stumbling on words and stuff like this. But this is still a pretty good video. But those videos are excellent. They're so perfect. It makes it clear to anybody. You could be in first grade and you'd know that I'm Christ, and you'd be very educated after you see that playlist. In fact, I urge you all, if you have a kid in first grade or anyone else in your family of any age, to show them that playlist. There's not many views there now, and it's been a long time. I've had the playlist maybe, I want to say like 6 months, a year. I don't remember that part, but it only has like 13 views per video, if that. Okay. And that's to my glory, because my videos are suppressed and the information is so potent. It's so much more intelligent than the other videos on YouTube, okay, from other people, that it's clear that I'm Christ. And I have been propounding that I'm Christ even though they're suppressing my videos. Doing God's work. I used to say that even if God tells you to bring a grain of sand to the beach and it's going to kill you to do so, you should do that. How much more declaring the glory of God when your videos are suppressed? Now, in this case, it's not bringing a grain of sand. It is Christ, in the end, waging war with righteousness and justice. The effects of my moral repetition is felt in the spiritual realm. Let me give you an example. If I wave my hand back and forth, scientists say that ripple goes, so far away. It goes light years away. It goes on and on across the universe. The ripple is felt. It's far away. It's felt. How much more when the most righteous person that ever lived is insisting that people are righteous? He's going into public. He's making videos. He's trying to get them to hear him. How much more does God take note? Point number 21. I accurately predicted that attractive females would not submit to me in 2021. I said, look, they're not going to submit to me. My car tactics are not going to work, and they won't compensate me. It's now 2025, and they still haven't. This is something that I didn't know for sure. There's people in cultures all over the world. There's Muslims, there's martial artists, there's people all over the world whose cultures it is to get their women to submit to me. I'm the top martial artist. Every martial artist, who's especially hyper traditional, super traditional, is supposed to have women submit to me. Martial is marital scrambled. I, Christ, and the bridegroom. Okay? When they're more racist than they are honoring their master, they confuse that. For example, if you're a Shinto or you're a Hindu, and one of the deities or ideas that you worship manifests as a black person, are you supposed to say, no, I'm Indian, or I'm Japanese, or I'm whatever, and I can't tell my women to submit to you? No. You're supposed to tell them to submit to that guy. And in Islam, when Isa comes back, and he says, I want attractive women to submit to me so I can choose a wife, are you supposed to say, no, you're a black guy and I'm an Arab? That's fucking retarded. Imagine being that stupid. Imagine being so dumb that that's how you interpret the Quran. My goodness, they should be stoned to death. Okay, I can go on and on. But yet I predicted that they would not. So I've been scrambling to get the message out, putting things on polls and so on and so forth. You can't make this up. Point number 22. It was very smart to take online mental health tests and publish the results as they overkill my sanity, which I did in order to overkill the failure of those who sought to argue that I'm mentally ill. These people sunk to the level that to their extreme disgracing their families, their nations, their cultures, their religions, their groupings, you name it. And they were like, I think he's crazy. So I said, look, punk, and I posted the results. Not only am I clearly not crazy, there's 23 witnesses on record. There's people all throughout the last 16 years that agree with me. There's people I have intellectual conversations with. I've had interviews with people, discussions, and they weren't saying I'm crazy. They were agreeing with me, saying that's wise and that's smart. But I went out of my way to take an online test that proved that I'm not mentally ill. Okay? From the psychiatrist's own perspective. Those people were trampled in next. You haven't heard them say that for a long time. Trampled into next week. They have their foots in their mouth. They were overcome. They were defeated. They were destroyed. Because I'm superior and I'm smarter and I'm wiser. Okay. It's even wise for me to say it that way. Think about it. Point number 23. It was very wise for me to make this paper. Point number 24. It was very wise of me to make sure that I maintain the moral and principle-based high ground in regards to my life and the timeline of my life. So when I look back at the timeline, back in 2012, my 2012 challenge, moral and fair, 2013 challenge, being persecuted heavily in 2012 and 13. Okay? The person I was dating in 2017, okay, who lived in Santa Cruz, how I treated this person. As I look at the timeline of my life, I maintain the moral principle-based high ground. And that was very wise. So I could say, what did you people do with your lives? So I went to a high school reunion. I could say, look, first of all, I could go on stage and say, first of all, I didn't sell out to corporations like you people did. So I'm very proud of that. Secondly, okay, I have a top martial arts challenge that I challenged everybody. If you think about it, martial artists are the smartest people historically in society. Mind, body, soul, spirit, cultivation. Not just some nerd who just read a lot of books or something, but somebody who's really honed their brain power and brain function and brain activity in a way that transcends other paths. So I have the most respectable life. I could say that, and I could even say, look, martial is marital scrambled, and I, Christ, and the bridegroom. Everyone there would instantly respect it. Instantly. Even if they didn't believe me entirely, they'd say that argument is respectable. That took guts. I have the most respectable life. And people who don't respect it, they're called idiots, perverts, rapists, organized rapists, dogs, worms, assorted trash. because they're complicit with the mass rape by deception construct, among other things. And the word rapist is like the word racist for a reason. Think about how they play it. Think about how they train people, how they convince people, how they groom them, how they condition them. Okay. Point number 25, I think is what we're on now. It was very wise of me to make thousands of videos about the Bible, which overkill that I am the true expert on the Bible where it matters most. So when these worms say things like, read your Bible, you need Jesus. First of all, I am Jesus. And I have thousands of videos about the Bible. The vast, vast, vast majority of Christians and everyone else cannot say that. I can. I've been making videos. I referenced the Bible in my first video in 2009 in August. Back when I was 27, turning 28. I'm now 43. And before that, I used to talk to people about the Bible, and they did not have a counter argument for how I was saying they should live their life. Said they should scramble to do God's work. Before I even read Proverbs, I was saying that. And the word prudence is used quite a bit in Proverbs. Diligent, scrambling to do God's work. While they were just another sheep going to church, worshiping Lucifer. Point number 26. It was wise of me to emphasize that Marshall is marital scrambled, as in marriage, and that I, Christ, and the bridegroom. Some people were saying in the comments, trying to throw me off, they were saying, well, you keep saying the same thing. Because different people were walking by. Who would have thought, right? And I said, what's going to stick with them? A whole lot. If I say the word Marshall is marital scrambled, as in marriage, and I, Christ, and the bridegroom, the top martial artist. I'll tell you right now, that stays with a lot of people. It's because they never thought of it that way. The top martial artist is the Son of God. I said, if the top martial artist magically isn't the Son of God, then who the hell is he? Some random person? Some insignificant person? Think about it. The reason why he's quote unquote not in the Bible is because he's in the Bible in a coded way. The heavenly warrior defeats the beast. David versus Goliath. Samson, David's mighty man. Joshua at Jericho. They're taking the place. They're superimposed on the idea of the top martial artist. If Jesus had walked on air instead of water, would you say, hey, that doesn't prove anything? And so it is with me conveying the Spirit of God in the most respectable manner that's confused in the Bible. It's not with a slingshot. It's not bringing down a temple. It's with focus, moral intensity, being able to outsmart and outmaneuver anyone. Because the miracles are figurative and the top martial artist path is literal. Exodus 15:3, the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. Not the Lord is a water walker, literally, or someone who turns water into wine. The Lord is a warrior. Moses wasn't saying the Lord performs figurative miracles or the Lord splits water. He said the Lord is a warrior. So the essence of the miracle was a warrior in a warrior spirit doing the miracle. And that warrior is God. And he who sees the Father sees the Son. Point number 27. It was very good of me to emphasize that my religion is universal, pinpointing moral precision and focused moral intensity, and not an Abrahamic faith. Why? Because these books are confusing. Christ, as a character in the story, even says that there's going to come a time when I speak plainly. And then before, it's making it a mystery because people don't deserve to hear. So what is better than telling somebody in a way that's a mystery, telling them plainly? So my words, my plain words, which conquer and transcend all adverse translations and interpretations of the Bible, are superior to the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, the Talmud, the Kabbalah, you name it. Think about it. And they have no viable counterargument. There might be somebody who's red-faced if they hear this. They're pissed off. They slap their wife for no reason. They can't contain their stupidity, their anger, their scatterbrained foolishness. But they know that I'm right. Because they have to use logic to read a holy book in the first. What makes it holy? Logic. Logic makes it holy if you believe it's holy, right? You believe there's certain logic that makes it holy. And it's logic that makes it so my words are more holy than that book. Okay. Point number 28. It was very strategic of me to highlight that they are changing the sounds of people's voices and the looks that people have. their images and video, looks, etc., while others fail to do so. This shows a certain foresight and depth of character. I knew that people would crack down on me more, and I masterfully chose to do so, and I masterfully faced the consequences. It is far more respectable to put your foot down and say, I'm not going to let a bunch of Satanists and LGBT people and white supremacists and Jewish supremacists, play me out like a bitch. I'm going to say that's what they're doing, and I'm not doing this to myself. They're doing it to me, And I'm a man, and I'm going to tell them to stop. I'm going to command them to stop. I'm going to say that their souls are going to cook. I faced them on that issue, where everyone else bent over themselves and their families. Think about it. What can they say? Obviously, I'm above them. And my dignity and honor are intact. Theirs isn't. I urge you all to scramble to obey God through me to redeem yourselves and your souls, and bring your family and redeem your families. Okay. Point number 29. I massively chose to constantly remind them that I am in charge and not them, so that their attempts to control me would not seep into my subconscious the same way. I said, I am Christ and you are not equal, you are less. This is not only true, but it combats their attempts to cause things to seep into my subconscious that would help them try to control me. Things that would help them try to control me. Okay, 30. I exposed catfishing. Right? I said I've been catfished many times. Instead of, being too proud to admit it, growing up, I was catfishing. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's more wrong to catfish somebody and they find out you're a guy and then you overpower them. If you're the catfish finds out that they're a guy and they overpower them and rape them. Then somebody just snatching you up off the street and raping you. Because you've taken them into your confidence. Your hopes are up. You're like, man, you think of this person as a hot chick, and next you know it's a guy, and they drug you and rape you, overpower and rape you. That's worse than someone just snatching you up, some guy just snatching you up and raping you in prison or on the streets or something. So this catfishing is a huge problem. And the tranny movement to try to get people to just accept people as the gender they seem is also a huge problem. And Republicans pretending that when they expose it to some degree that they're in the right is also a huge problem. When Satan, quote unquote, exposes Satan for his master plan to try to put Luciferian conservatives and people like them, people in social clubs and the governing class, European governing class people, Jewish governing class people, their secret lines when they have sex with their concubines, they have sex with their servants, and they have kids that go into the lower class, they're different plants. They're different plants. They've planted people in various places. Just like intelligence agencies who plant informants in various places. That's a huge problem. And to have the heart to expose it, have the heart to risk being ridiculed exposing it, have the tactics and the wisdom to combat any ridicule that might come, shows wisdom. Point number 31. Playing them out for trying to play me out was wise. As they insult God to try to benefit themselves, their crafts, their religions, their groups, their families, their movements, whatever they're trying to benefit. And this goes back to several scriptures. 1 John 3 tells you that the righteous man comes into the light and exposes their deeds. Matthew 25 says, that which you do for the least of my brethren, you do for me. That which you didn't do for the least of my brethren, you didn't do for me. Proverbs 1:19 says, such are the paths of those who go after ill-gotten gain. It takes away the lives of those who get them. The life from those who get it. So ill-gotten gain rots your soul. Proverbs 18:9 says, one who's slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. So you don't want to be slack in your work. You want to do for the least of the brethren. You want to come out into the public sphere and say, this is what's right and this is what's wrong. We see people going their whole lives never doing that. We see generations of people who are their offspring. Can they then turn around and say, hey, I'm going to do that at some point? Or, just wait and see. We wait time and time again. These people don't come out into the public sphere. They just die a sinner. Were they the masters at life? Did they have the master vision and insight? No. You never know when you're going to die. So move masterfully and effectively and efficiently and do God's work and define your soul as a soul that followed the rules in John 3, that followed the rules in Matthew 25 and Proverbs 1:19 and Proverbs 18:9. Every day 189,000 people die. Several thousand of them are here in America. And they died having never come into the divine order. The one who does God's work comes into the light so it may be seen plainly. The word used here is plainly, like me speaking plainly. It may be seen plainly that what they have done is in the sight of God, to glorify God, to do God's work. We see in Revelation chapters 1-3 or so, it talks about the deeds of the churches. Are their deeds finished or unfinished in the sight of my God, for example? The misdeeds of following the Nicolaitans or Jezebel, their sexual immorality. You see, I have proven definitively in this video alone, with these 31 points or so, that I make profoundly wise decisions in spite of sabotage while others do not. In spite of round-the-clock sabotage. So who should be in charge? Christ. Before, during, and after I read this, I should be in charge. And I was 100% right to say, if I go into a coma because other people aren't worthy, they're not trustworthy, they're not worthy, you are to wait by the hospital, in the room if you can, outside, and wait for your orders as part of your punishment for not scrambling and obeying God through me the first time. Under no circumstances is someone supposed to follow anyone else ever again. Thank you.